Greetings. Now, some people will be able to enter the 12-spiral mode of operation for a very short period of time, others will not make a shift in consciousness for many years. This is due to the fact that each person is individually encoded. In this case, the encoding of each subsequent increased frequency can occur only if the person is ready to integrate this vibration frequency. Many are already experiencing tremendous difficulties in the early stages of implementing this plan. Most of the inhabitants of the earth have convinced themselves that there is only one reality and there can be no other reality. This type of consciousness can lead to a delay in the evolution of the human race. As all 12 spirals come into full force, there will be an awakening of inner knowledge, the knowledge that is outside of school skills. Humanity will discover inner knowledge, the knowledge of oneself and the fact that there is something more than just the physical world. Believe it, know this, understand this. Your task is to carry knowledge and develop yourself as much as the human form allows you. In the process of development, you cannot but influence many other people. Remember, everything that exists is not as simple as it seems at first glance. Everyone with whom you come in contact is influenced by your vibrations. You exert a certain electromagnetic influence on everyone who comes in contact with you. Some of you may be left in very mundane and minor jobs for a while, but you need a certain period during which you have to assimilate information, and this is undoubtedly very important. You need to find a place for this knowledge in the structure of your life. You need to find a place for this knowledge in the history of your planet, your world, living in accordance with it, gaining further knowledge and getting used to new concepts. As soon as you can constantly keep the vibration frequency of knowledge in love without rolling up and down the sinusoid of your emotions, like on an attraction, just because you do not fully understand who you really are, you will be given a task. This task will be presented to you as it is part of your scheme. Your scheme is an individual plan of action developed in detail by you for a given life. Individual consciousness needs to activate a certain starting mechanism in order to manifest itself in multiple dimensions. Part of your being needs to make a decision and say to itself, okay, I want to take part in the knowledge of the experience of many dimensions. What do I want to do for this? In the beginning it is necessary that there is desire. Desire is the awareness of something that gives impetus to further development at a given moment in time. Then you need to decide what you will do with your desire. Maybe tomorrow you will forget it. In order for this desire to acquire an energetic structure, you need to show that it is not fleeting, but completely serious. Then you need to take certain actions. Take part in events, processes that would prove your commitment to this desire. Only then can you start building your life in such a way as to constantly send the signal that this is exactly what you want. This desire will become a living request. We offer you at every moment of time to feel a special, higher meaning of your existence. To feel how you are led by higher forces, thanks to which you act in this way and not otherwise. Awareness is awakening of the masses on this planet. It seeps into the reality of every person. These events are planned in such a way as to bring all of you together, the entire human race, to a new octave of the manifestation of light. Waves of light come from the future through the portals that you open on the earth plane. These portals are expanding more and more as your consciousness changes. You follow the course of the story that we have told you, and you participate in it personally. The masses are awakening. You look around and feel the roar of consciousness, internal changes on earth. This is the beginning of a ritual of passage for all of humanity. You would not be here now if the process of grounding information and transfer of energy to the earth were not so important. You need to become a hollow conductor of the energy of the cosmos, a kind of pipeline. Conduct energy through yourself. Acknowledge and realize that this state is inherent in being in many dimensions. Just carry the light in you, that which you are. Find a certain purpose in the simplicity of your existence. Sow this planet with light during its deep transformation. Message from the Pleiadians. You all think too much about how events and relationships will eventually resolve, and you pay too much attention to the outer packaging of people and events. Therefore, when you ask for acceleration, be prepared to take risks, to take those steps from which your logic can go into hysterics, and your logical mind will resist and kick out just because it is overwhelmed by fear when faced with some problems. As soon as you hear that, you mentally or aloud say phrases like, "I can't do this," or "It doesn't make any sense." Be on the lookout. These are keywords. Just tell yourself, I am guided by the divine principle. I intend to accelerate my development. I intend to act in a state of divine inspiration, and I am willing to take a certain amount of risk. I feel that I am doing the right thing, even if my logical mind is opposed to the action coming from the depths of my consciousness. So I will do everything. But nevertheless, if you get the feeling that something is wrong here, you feel that this is not your path, and besides, logic also cries out that this should not be done, do not do it. Trust your feelings, your feelings. It's time to go beyond obstacles and difficulties and discover the true history of your consciousness, allowing the light-coded strands to reunite into bundles and to form new spirals. Thus, your consciousness will prepare for the perception of information that will become available to you due to the activation of new sections of DNA. This process will not always be clear to your logical mind. You will learn to understand that there are well-defined conditions under which the use of logic is appropriate. Logic has its own scope and meaning, but the logical part of your essence is not yet your essence as a whole. People abuse the logical mind, use logic too often and in large quantities. When there is any abuse, including the logical mind, the consciousness is brought into a state of disharmony, and the physical body is exposed to excessive stress. There is no need to constantly logically comprehend what is happening to you. Observe yourself, always keep a sense of humor and good humor, and do not lose the idea of development from the field of consciousness, your spiritual development, the development of light-coded threads in your DNA. Each of you knows that you are here and now at a very important time. The time that they wrote, whispered and talked about has come. The era has come when humanity is physically undergoing a process of transformation and, in the literal sense, turns into a different species. Whom do human beings become? People are transformed from beings of the three-dimensional world into multidimensional beings. This is a great concept, but soon it will become as familiar to you as lacing your boots. People undergo a process of change and turn into creatures who can easily switch from one radio station to another. These people will understand their magnificence, and also that their consciousness is not limited to the limits of the physical body, nor does it end at the border of the etheric body or aura. People exist in many realities and are inextricably linked to the very structure of the universe. The era of multidimensional beings has come, beings that can consciously move in many different realities. The era of beings who perceive, not just think. This is the era of the soul, which understands that its thinking part is important, but is not a prisoner of the physical body, but subordinates, directs and guides it. Message from the Pleiadians.